Abortion and slavery, it's amazing how much those two debates have in common. Abortion and slavery, my friends, is your liberal legacy. The Lincoln-Douglas debates are now famous, but if you don't know, these debates were about slavery and the Republican-led victory over the evils of slavery in America. When one looks closely at the Lincoln-Douglas arguments, it is profound the parallel between slavery and abortion. Douglas, the Democrat, took a pro-choice position on slavery, claiming the states should decide whether or not to enslave human beings. And much like our modern-day so-called pro-choicers, when pushed, when forced to look in the eye of their decision, they'll claim they're not pro-abortion. How often have we all heard this? I personally oppose it. Of course, this supposed personal opposition from Douglas didn't mean a whole lot to the enslaved human beings. Just like the modern-day shrug of a so-called pro-choicer when they say, I personally oppose it, means very little to the dead. Lincoln, the Republican, called out such doublespeak and said, choice can't be referenced without context and the ramification of that choice. How can it make sense to permit the choice to enslave another? I ask you, how can it make sense to permit the choice to kill another? In these same debates, Douglas the Democrat argued that blacks were like dogs. He argued against the legitimacy of their existence, and he argued against the legitimacy of them being human beings in complete form. Does any of this sound familiar? Lincoln, the Republican, argued for life, humanity, and dignity. He said that blacks were human beings, and that to enslave them, or keeping with our parallel, to kill them, is not freedom of choice. It's simply wrong. It's wrong as it rolls off of any tongue. Now, then, forever, it is wrong. Moreover, Lincoln didn't apologetically state this. He boldly said blacks were human beings, and that Douglas's grotesque evil, and all those who agreed, did so out of self-interest. Self-interest, not freedom of choice. The debates between Lincoln and Douglas over the dignity of life and freedom are startling in their similarity to our modern-day debate over the life of the unborn, despite the crystal clear fact that pro-life conservative Republicans have the moral high ground without any doubt. For political gain, today's so-called pro-choice Democrats muddy the waters and dehumanize the human baby, just like Douglas and the Democrats dehumanized slaves. If you think about it, not much has really changed. I spoke of this previously, but many so-called pro-choice Democrats realize they're in moral hot water, and in a futile attempt to cover their filthy moral tracks, they'll say stuff like, well, I personally oppose abortion. But let me ask you, why would you personally oppose something if you did not instinctively know that that something was wrong? The abortion on demand in this country is simply debris from that racist, bigoted, anti-life time, and I say that unapologetically. They throw around terms like fetus, tissue, cell clump to disguise they're wanting to kill an unwanted human guest. And by the way, where are all these classical liberal principles we hear so much by way of mouth music? Compassion, equality, sticking up for the little guy. What's interesting to note is that the abortion issue reveals the true and bloody essence of modern-day liberalism. Because in the liberal church, abortion is sacrament. And for all their fruitless talk of loving education, here they fight legal tooth and nail against abstinence and adoption education. Any attempt to reduce this nation's bloody abortion genocide, and you are sure to find the left standing in your way. And don't for a second let their vapid terms of privacy fool you. The left has absolutely no problem with the government reaching into your schools, your home, your wallet. The left has no problem telling you what you can eat, what you can wear, what kind of electricity you can use, what you can drink, where you can smoke. They don't have a problem telling you how to rear and raise your own children. Make no mistake, the left has no problem whatsoever with the strong arm of government infringing upon your personal choices. Only here, when we as a free and moral people cry out for the abortion on demand to stop, does the left all of a sudden bemoan government intrusion. And don't attempt to hide under Roe v. Wade either, because you'll find no moral shelter under that wobbly bus shelter of activist junk legislation. That inaction is legal makes it neither moral nor right. Need I remind you that once it was legal to lynch and enslave a man based on nothing more than the pigment of his skin, that we are talking about genuine human life when we debate and talk and wax poetic about abortion is a fact. Life springs with all its magic and splendor upon conception, and that you wish not to look that in the eye is completely irrelevant to me, because this is a fact. This, in a matter of months, if not injected with poison, dismembered piece by piece, part by human part, for any laundry list of liberal reasons, is the same thing as is this. To deny this simply points to a dulled conscience and a societal willfulness to once again ignore genocide. Sadly, you can take that to the bank.